Hey everybody, welcome back to our Labyrinth playthrough, Solitaire playthrough. We're up to turn 3 of this one. It's me as the US against the game, which is using its AI flowcharts. And, turn 3, the game is slowly progressing. I guess starting off where we were last time. Somalia is kind of a problem. Afghanistan is still under Islamic rule. The US has troops in Pakistan now, which is good, sort of clear up that area. I think what the U.S. has to focus on here is getting rid of Somalia. We need to shift Somalia to an ally and start disrupting or something. We do need to get our prestige back up. That would be lovely. So I've been looking at the U.S. cards. I set them up ahead of time. We'll go through it. The U.S. has a terrible hand this turn, it looks like. We're kind of in a little bit of trouble here. We have Libyan WMD. We have Safer Now. Iran. So there's only 2 U.S. cards that we have. Iran is a neutral card. The jihadist cards are El Ittihad Al Islami, IEDs, Quagmire, Clean Operatives, this just keeps going, Regional Al Qaeda, and then Gaza War. A few of these I think we can mitigate. A lot of them, it does not look like we're going to be able to mitigate. So we'll have to see what the jihadist does. Hopefully they have a lot of, even if they have a lot of U.S. events, it doesn't really help us out that much. So let's start going. Turn 1, jihadist turn. Gitmo. Gitmo is a playable non-U.S. event. Yes. Does the event recruit or place cells? No, it does not. So we play the event, which is to roll prestige. So when you roll prestige, you randomly drop or raise US prestige, or by event. So you roll a die. Modify die by -1 if G-Rot relations penalty is more than 0. There's not. So a 1 to 4 drops prestige, and a 5 to 6 raises. We need a 5 to 6. We got a 5. I know that's not on camera, but that actually worked out for us. That could have been a turning point in the game. This could be actually huge. So now we rolled a 5, so we rise or raise the prestige. You roll 2 dice, and you shift it by the lower dice's number. So we need 2 high numbers here. We got a 5 and a 6, which is huge. So 5 is obviously less than 6, so we raise this by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're now back up to high prestige. That came back to bite the jihadist player in the butt, I think. The roll prestige is more likely, obviously, to decrease U.S. prestige, and that did not work. So there are no recruit operations or detainee release the rest of this turn. We'll put that right there, just to remember that. That's their first turn. So they cannot recruit or detainee release. I think we've already seen detainee release, too. So second card is Predator, which is a playable U.S. event, so they're going to plot with it. And the plots go as much as possible in the U.S. No. Prestige low. No. Philippines. No. Countries with troops. Oh, over there in Pakistan. Okay, so 1 in Pakistan, and then the second one would be in countries with the U.S. posture, which they can't do. Then in countries with aid, which they can't do, then funding equals 9, no, then Muslim, and non-Muslim, then Muslim or Iran. So what can they do? They can do Iran and Pakistan. And these are ops, so fair. Yeah, so it looks like Pakistan and Iran are going to be the 2. So we'll flip Iran. The Pakistan cell is already there, so we'll do Iran first. It needs a 2. They rolled a 6, so that didn't work. They just exposed themselves. Now Pakistan also needs a 2. They rolled a 1, so their plot works. We're going to roll the plot number. It's a 1. So we must get rid of that plot because there are troops in that cell. In that country. And what happens if the country has troops? It's a -1 hit to prestige. So we might be able to weather that. I don't really know. That's no good. So that was the second jihadi card. US turn. US is super, super limited in what it can do. Can we get rid of any of these threes to play? Quagmires. Play if prestige medium or low and a regime change country has a cell. There's none. So we could actually play this to get rid of plot. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to play Quagmire as my first US event. And remove the plot. It was a 2. Those are sufficiently jumbled, I hope. And yes, okay, I think that's good. So that plot is gone. That's their first action. With their second action, they're going to... They could play Iran. Do they just want to turn... Well, disrupt would be good, I think, if we started disrupting. If I disrupt, I can play this Gaza War. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to play Gaza War. I'm going to... You discard a random card, so I'm going to shuffle these up. Shuffle them up real nice. It's likely we'll discard a jihadi card, which would be probably best case scenario, right? So what is it? It is a pretty good card to discard. It could have been worse, so I get rid of this guy. Dropped a card in the back. Remind me about that game. Okay, so that's that. Let me reorganize my hand. So the US discards a random card, +1 to funding, -1 prestige. So their funding is still okay right there. Prestige went down. We're going to disrupt with it. It's a 2. Going to disrupt in Pakistan. So we got rid of that cell, placed a cadre. We gain prestige because we disrupted with troops. And Pakistan is now a little bit more safe. The world is a little bit more safe. So that's it for the US. Okay, that goes there. And what do I need to do now? I need to do the jihadist cards. All right, back to the jihadists. Let's see what these guys can do. Special Forces, U.S. event. It is play. This is Special Forces. Play if there is a cell in or adjacent to a country with troops. There are. So it's a playable U.S. event. So they're going to plot with it. As much as possible in the U.S. Procedural, no. Philippines, no. In countries with troops, they can't because they don't have cells in countries with troops. Due penalty, no. Countries with the U.S. posture, no. In countries with aid, no. Then funding equals 9, no. In non-Muslim, then Muslim or Iran. So non-Muslim, Muslim, or Iran. So Iran would be their priority because fair, yes. So rolling for Iran, a plot. They rolled a 3, so it fails. So that's that card done. Second jihadi card. Tora Bora. Play if at least 2 cells in regime change country. So it's a non-playable event, but the event can't happen. Remove 2 cells. Event recruits or places cells. No. Yeah, so you play the event. Unassociated event, yes, and then they do the thing. So it's Tora Bora. Play if at least 2 cells in regime change country. There are no regime change, so that can't happen. They just do the ops. Major jihad success possible, yes. Major jihad. So Somalia is our major jihad target. It does not have a besieged regime marker at this point, which is good. All cells in target country go active. Proceed per minor jihad, except you need 2 successes to go through. So they're going to roll 2 dice because they have a 2-up card. They need both of them to work. They got a 4 and a 1. And the 4 dice was teetering on its edge for a little while, getting me nervous. They got a 4 and a 1, so it doesn't work. If 3 rolls at poor fail, so you proceed per minor jihad, so we rolled 2 dice for each failure, so you remove 2 cells, which will buy us some time as the US. So Somalia's down to 3 cells, which is good, which is huge, actually. We remove the cells. We didn't roll 3 dice, so we don't get a besieged regime marker. And it looks like that's it. They used that. They used those ops. Okay. U.S. turn. U.S. turn. USA. All right, what can we do? Al-Qaeda is playable. IEDs we can get rid of. They have clean operatives, which is so tedious. Libyan WMD. It doesn't look like they're going to go to Libya. I wouldn't imagine. We could disrupt. I need to get rid of some of these cards. Region Al-Qaeda, clean operatives are terrible cards for me. One of them is probably going to have to be played, right? Well, I'm probably going to have to play. No, I'll have 1 left. I'll always have 1 left. Regional Al-Qaeda is play if you can select 2 unmarked Muslim countries, not Iran. You place a cell in each or 2 if there's any Islamist rule. That one can't get played. That one's terrible. Clean operatives is automatically travel cells anywhere, and they will always travel to the U.S. I think I should try to shift Pakistan to a fair marker, right? The War of Ideas, remove all. It doesn't get rid of cadres, though, right? It keeps cadres, but that's fine. Recruiting there will be incredibly difficult. Let's do Pakistan. Try to get Pakistan going here. So we're going to play Iran and roll for Pakistan, the War of Ideas, to shift them to an ally. So they're shifting to good, -1. GWAT penalty, no. Prestige is +1, so we're at 0. Adjacent good ally is 1, so we're at 1. We got a 3, so that becomes a 4, which gets an aid marker. Could have been worse. Could have been worse. All right, so that's the U.S. first go. Second U.S. card, I feel like we should try that again. But then I'm just wasting cards. So I try Somalia. I can start disrupting. I'll do Somalia. I'll play Safer Now, just for the ops, and roll War of Ideas in Somalia. So War of Ideas in Somalia is a little bit easier. Shifting good, no. Prestige is +1. No adjacent good, so we're just +1. We rolled a 5, it becomes a 6, which is good, so Somalia is an ally now. Okay, that was a pretty good turn for the U.S., I think. That's pretty much as good as you can hope for. We got an aid marker in Pakistan, which will be helpful. Somalia is an ally. We can start disrupting there now, which is good. There are no plots, so we're done with that. The U.S. turn is over. And now we're back to the jihadist turn. Kurdistan. Jihadist. All right, so follow with this little flowchart again. Playable, non-U.S. event. Yes, it is playable. It's Kurdistan is the card. Jihadist would test Turkey and worsen its or Iraq's governance 1 level, but not to Islamist rule. Iraq is at poor. Event places or recruits cells, no. So you play the event. Test Turkey. So Turkey's over there. I'm going to roll the dice. It's a 5, so it becomes fair. Fair neutral. And you worsen its governance 1 level, but not to Islamist rule because Iraq is already poor. So Turkey becomes poor. Poor neutral. Let's recount our countries here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That makes sense to me. 1, 2, 3. That makes sense to me. Islamist resources at 1. Yes. Good resources are 3. Yes, that makes sense. Okay. It goes there. And then they do their little op thing. Major jihad. No, not possible. Jihad possible in good or fair. No, jihad is not possible in good or fair. Cells available. Yes, there's 1. So they should recruit. They'll recruit in a regime change where, nope, that's it. Islamist rule where cells are less than 2 times the ops. 2 times, no, that doesn't happen. Non-Islamic rule, non-regime change country with highest recruit success. And recruit priorities are besieged regime, then most cells and troops. There's no besieged. So it looks like Somalia. Cells and troops, yeah, Somalia. Yep, Somalia. So they're going to roll that one guy to see if he can go to Somalia, and they need a 3 or less. They rolled a 1. So Somalia is definitely going to have to start disrupting people. Okay. That's fine. That was their first card. No, we're not done yet, right? They had 1. We have 2 ops. So they recruited. We have 1 op left. So we place a cell. If we have a funding track, we roll 2 dice. 5 and a 5. This is what I was screwing up about radicalization. I know I mentioned this in the intro, but when you have ops remaining, I think they go to radicalization. It's not just if you have no options from the start, you radicalize. You do it with any remaining ops. So they have 1. So I rolled a 5 and a 5, which is Gulf states. Oh, terrific. So there's a cell in the Gulf states now. It'll be hard for them to do anything there, but it's annoying that he's over there. And the U.S. is doing a good job of maintaining their troop levels, which is huge. All right, so that's the first card for Jihad. Second one, wiretapping. Play if any cadre cells or plots in the US, UK, or Canada. So it's a non-playable event. Non-playable event. No. Playable US event? No. Major jihad possible? No. Jihad possible in good or fair? Yes. It's a 2 op, so jihad possible in good or fair. Among good. Good, and then among fair. So you can't jihad in Iran. They're going to jihad in the Gulf states. In the Gulf states, and then Somalia, I think. So they're doing good, then among fair, then if alignment shift among poor. They can't shift. What are we doing here? We're doing a jihad, right? Yes, we are. Jihad does not shift. Yeah, you don't shift alignment. If alignment shift among poor, so then radicalization. So I think the only thing we can do here is jihad in the good. If alignment shift among fair. What does that mean? I need the rule book. So jihad for the AI. Jihad if major jihad. Where is it? Roll minor jihad to shift governance and alliance first in countries of good, then fair. Then, if shifting alignment, do so in a country at poor. If shifting alignment, do so in a country at poor? But you can't shift it. Jihad. Pakistan, then aid, then besiege regime. So I don't know what that means. Someone tell me what that means. If alignment shift among poor. So I'm going to do it in the Gulf states, and then with my second one, they're going to radicalize. I think that's all I can do. Because Somalia wouldn't do anything like that. Okay, so let's do Gulf states first. Gulf states need a 1. They rolled a 2. I know it doesn't matter how close it is numerically on a dice, but it's still upsettingly close. And then they're going to radicalize and they move a cell into a country. Black 3, brown 4. Black 3, brown 4 is black 3, brown 4, Libya. Huh, interesting. We were just talking about Libya, how I didn't want to go over there. And there they are. Okay, so they did their 2 actions. So that's it for them. U.S. turn. U.S. needs to start getting on something here. Do I get rid of the Gulf states? I think so, right? So I'm going to play IEDs, play if a cell is in a regime change country. That can't happen. There is no regime change. So they're going to disrupt in the Gulf states. You can do that because they're an ally. With my second one, I feel like we need to get Pakistan up to good. I'm going to play clean operatives. Automatically travel 2 cells anywhere. Clean operatives is a jihadi card that's very good for them. So travel. Clean operatives to United States. I'd assume they would both go there, right? That would be the only way to... On the flowchart it says 2 with 1 cell each. You get those boxes, but underneath it says clean operatives to United States. I assume they would both go. They'll come from Islamist rule of cells greater than ops. Yes, Islamist rule of cells greater than ops, so they're coming from Afghanistan. All right, so unfortunately for the U.S., there are cells in the United States now. So we traveled to 2 cells, and now I have my 3 op. What am I going to do? Do I disrupt in Somalia? Is that better at this point? If you disrupt with one country... If you disrupt with an ally, I think it just removes 1. Yes, it does. Should I move cells there? Maybe that's better. I'll move soldiers into Somalia. So now we'll get some disrupt benefit from that. And they also can major jihad immediately, which will stop that. So that's good. That's over. No plots to resolve, so we go back to the jihadists, the final 2 jihadist card plays. Sharia. Playable US event. It's not, well, it would be. It's playable, but it wouldn't do anything, so I think it's still considered playable because it's Sharia, so remove a besieged regime marker. There are none there, but it's not a prerequisite, so I think we play it as if it is an event, so they plot as much as possible in the US. Okay, so they have, it's a 2-op card, they have 2 cells in the US. They both go active and they roll 2 dice. They got 1, they got a 2 and a 1. Oh, sorry, I have to roll the plot number. It was a 3. So there's a terror plot in the U.S., which sucks for the U.S. Second card, done. Danish cartoons. Danish cartoons. U.S. side selects Scandinavia's posture, then jihadists place an available plot 1, or if any Islamic rule, any available plot in any non-Islamist rule Muslim country. Okay, so... No, it doesn't play cells, no. Play the event. Okay, U.S. side select Scandinavia's posture. Scandinavia is going to go hard. Which bumps that up. Jihadists place an available plot 1, or if any Islamist rule, there is Islamist rule, any available plot in a non-Islamist rule Muslim country. So let's figure out, this is horrific. So let's figure out which plot is going to be. Roll the 6, there is no 6. Roll the 3, there is a 3. So that's the plot marker. Any Muslim country, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm going to roll the sum of 2 dice. And it'll go into that country. We'll start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's the way we'll go. We'll snake it around like that. So here's the 2 dice. Actually, before I do that, we'll roll 1 die to determine direction. So 1 to 3 is going to go this way. 4 to 6 is going to go the other way. It's a 6, so we're going to start the other way. So that was just to ensure that all the... Because there's only 12 total and there's more countries. So it's going to come this way, and that'll ensure that all countries had a even chance. So now I'm going to roll the 2. It's a 10 for a total. I rolled a 6 and a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's Jordan. So the plot goes into Jordan. All right. And then they do, they actually have ops they can do, can't they? Major jihad possible? No. Jihad possible in good or fair? Yes, they can jihad in Iran. Okay, so they're going to do that. They need a 2 or 1. Oh, wait a minute. They can't jihad in Iran because there's no... Jihad is only in Muslim countries, not Iran. Okay, so they can't do that. Cells available? No, so they're going to travel. Travel to... Besiege regime change, then aid. So they're going to try to go to Pakistan from Islamist rule with cells greater than ops. So it just works. Because that's the aid marker that they're going after. So they're just going to travel from Afghanistan into Pakistan. Cadre goes away at that point. All right, that's it for them. Cards are done. U.S. now. And the U.S. has a decision to make because there are 2 plots. I have 2 3s left. One of them is a terrible country, though. Or a terrible card, excuse me, terrible country. Well, I have to resolve the plot in the U.S. I just have to clear up what the hell happens in the U.S. If not, yeah, their funding goes to 9 and you roll posture. Okay, so we're going to do that. Libyan WMD is the first card we're going to play. Libyan WMD. I'm going to get rid of this plot. The second one is in Jordan. They could reduce Jordan's... What do they get out of that? If they plot in a Muslim country, they get funding, and then they can reduce governance. Their funding is going to be at that shitty level anyway, that mid-level when the turn ends. So I'm not concerned too much about that. do I want to just discard this regional Al-Qaeda thing? I think I do. So I'm going to let Jordan go. And U.S. is going to discard regional Al-Qaeda. So those are the 2 turns. So let's resolve the plot in Jordan. Okay. So it's a Muslim country, so they get 1 funding. Country has troops. No, it doesn't. If it's a Muslim country, roll number dice equal to the plot number. Each roll equal to less than the country's governance worsens governance 1 level towards poor and removes aid. So they need 2s or 1s. And it worked. So it reduced. Each dice roll reduces it to 1 level. Yeah. And removes an aid. So that becomes... All right, so Jordan became poor. 2 fair good countries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 Islamists and poor, which makes sense. Islamist resources still 1. Good resources are still 3. Okay, and Gitmo. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Did we recruit during this turn? If we did, we fucked up the Gitmo card. I can't remember. It's too far gone now. We might have recruited via radicalization, which is fine. I can't remember if we recruited with dice rolls. We probably didn't because their funding was shit. So hopefully that worked out. Anyway, let's figure this out. So we resolved all the plots. We are now -1 funding, -1 prestige. The world hard does not equal 3, so we don't get a bonus prestige. You remove lapsing events, reserves to 0, deal new hands, and regime change is over. All right, so that's it. That was the end of the 3rd turn. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, I'd appreciate if you hammer that like button on YouTube. Otherwise, leave a comment. Let me know what I fucked up. Let me know what I did wrong. I'm having fun. This has been much more enjoyable than the first game I recorded of this. And yeah. Let me know what's going wrong, what I'm doing wrong, anything what you think my next move should be. I think I'm going to focus on Somalia again, and I need to get Pakistan up to a good level. I think that's kind of key, and we'll see how it goes. All right, next time.